So I got Connor Kemp here, Kyle Potts, Phil Swift, and let's go through some of what we saw today.
So this is my third Arnold Ascalon that I've been to. There's a reason why it's an annual for me. Every time I come out here, the quality of the folks who run the event is top notch every single year. The quality of fencing is top notch every single year. I think the best fighters from the East Coast, from the North, and from like the Midwest come out, and you can always find them here consistently.
So how far is your trip to get?
So I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So that's about a 7 to 8 hour drive for us.
And it's worth the 7 to 8 hour drive every year.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's outstanding.
Yeah.
So this is my first Ascalon, and I flew about 13 hours to get here. Just to fight this guy in Longsword, and do some rapier and dagger, of course. But no, this has been amazing. It's huge. The organizer was saying that this is in the top 3 biggest tournaments in North America.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, there was, 93 registered longsword fighters today in the tournament we just won.
93. And you did pretty well.
Yeah.
I made it to top 16. I got knocked out by the dude that was the only person who beat me in my pool, JW Pernetti. Shouts out to JW. Fuck you, but I love you.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it only speaks to the level of technical fencing that comes to this place.
That's outstanding. For me, I'm coming from like the SCA background and a couple of other armored sports. And so there were some things that I could see and I could identify that worked really well. But there are other things that I'm like, oh, that's really smooth and I don't know what to do. And so it was really fun that it's like I have a bunch more pieces than you'd think for being new to this. Because this is my very first longsword tournament.
Hey, congratulations.
No, you did fantastic. You did really good.
Thanks, I appreciate that, guys. But there was definitely stuff I do need to practice. And this was great because now with so many top end guys, I know what I got to go home and practice. So next time I'll know how to do certain things.
Absolutely. It's definitely a learning experience for me. Because about 4 years ago, when I was fencing in Michigan, everybody was just helicopter, short.
I fucking remember that.
Right?
Nordic bullshit. Fucking Nordic bullshit.
And I was like, okay, great, I'm gonna thrust everybody. And now everybody's so good at thrusting.
Yes.
Holy cow.
I was in your corner and I'm like, Phil's got the thrust game down. And then these guys are coming in thrusting just as good. I'm like, oh no.
I got beat in my own game on top 32. I mean, I did one elimination, lost on the second. To my own game, I'm so sad. But that means I'm gonna train harder. I got more to learn. So.
Did you shoot video?
Yeah.
No. One of the only ways to get better is to be able to just fucking watch yourself. Every time I come out here, and part of the reason why I got started on my YouTube channel, other than the fact that I kind of wanted to proliferate what I was doing, was to just have the ability to record myself, play back, see where my mistakes were in terms of decision making, and in terms of mechanical skill, and this is where that happens, right? Tournament fencing is, as many people put it, a different kind of fencing, a different skill set. Right? And it's predominantly due to repression.
Yeah.
And when you have such a large pool of incredible competitors as you do at Ascalon, it's gonna up your game as long as you get the fucking footage of that shit.
Yes.
As long as you get the footage of
You have to have the footage and be humble enough to go, I need to fix that. I do need to fix that.
Because otherwise you kind of pick up things that you might have missed. But if you don't have the footage, you can remember about this much when you could have learned about this much. So.
Now, what did you guys think about the format?
It's been interesting to see the kind of the transition in meta and establishment of rule sets in Longsword over the past few years, right? I feel like things have advanced even from Longpoint 2017, all of the larger events, and it's in my opinion that this tournament has a rule set that is pretty close to standard, right?
Okay.
That's
high praise.
Yeah, well, it's solid. It's fucking rock solid.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that I like about this is that there isn't some kind of moral punishment for doing doubles. Like the 3 doubles in that rule set, I didn't like.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't have that today. That would have been terrible for me.
Like, doubles happen, fucking happen, yeah, it's not a big deal. The quality of direction of characters is really wonderful. Yeah, the club that's hosting this, I'm blown away by how well organized it is. They built an app, they have screens set up, like, I'm really happy with that. That's really made a difference. Some high quality sheets.
I do have one little thing. Can you guys make the ring bigger? I don't like starting.
Yes, I'm with Phil on this one.
I don't like starting where someone can thrust me.
It used to be smaller.
Oh my god!
Like the width was the same, but like no cheating. Yeah, no. The width was the same, but the length was different. It was a fist. It was a rectangle.
Yeah. Okay, I prefer the square.
Yeah,
The square's a step up. Now we just need a bigger square.
Yes, just a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's pretty close to kind of what we do at KCFG for our intramural tournaments.
Yeah.
We run monthly to bi-monthly tournaments with our club, along with the other local area clubs, Bucks Historical Longsword, Bucks, Crossings Fight School in Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
Yeah, Crossing School, you guys did good. I found some of your members.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Good stuff.
The only big difference is that this is an afterglow rule set as opposed to a priority-based rule set.
Right.
I in my infancy of HEMA, I've been doing this for about 5 years. 5 years going on 6. I went from being really confounded by right of way to really appreciating it now that it's been more HEMAized.
Yeah.
And made to at least be understandable to me.
Right.
And it's not like I'm not going to go someplace because it has an actual stuff. But yeah, no, this place doesn't fucking right.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty pleased.
And shout out to all the beautiful fencers out there. I saw some bicornos. What else did I see? I saw some longtail. I went longtail, someone else went longtail. We were like, what are we gonna do now?
Yeah. I had an opponent that half sorted with me today.
Hey,
I saw him go to the stance and I'm like, I can't pass this up. I'm gonna half sword back.
Sadly, I didn't get to pull off my half sword move, but Connor made it better, so I can't wait to go train that.
Now,
you'll have to wait to see that video. What'll happen?
Now, Connor, you in your last match, Phil was a judge, right?
Yes.
How would you rate Phil as a judge? Give you the chance to judge Phil back.
I only have that. I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I think you did it well. I think you did it well.
It is very hard to judge, especially when people are moving really, really fast at high levels. There was a cut that you did on the head, and it was so nicely calibrated, and it was through a parry too. And usually, when you parry, you got to go even harder, and he did it. It was beautiful, and I couldn't tell if it was because it was so nice.
See, I'm used to being on their seat.
It's nice when that's flipped around.
Good.
I
didn't feel anything.
Oh no, it's even worse when you fucking get it, right?
Yeah.
Like you get the snap and then your blade goes into the side of your fucking head.
Yeah. That's why I couldn't tell. I kind of didn't hear it, but it definitely happened.
Yeah.
So,
judging is just as hard as fighting.
Yeah.
And it's in my opinion more exhausting.
100%. 100%.
There's no doubt that the mental toll that's taken on just trying to pay attention
And be fair.
To be fair,
Because when you're fighting, you're just, I did my shot, cool.
Yeah.
But when you're a judge, you want both people to be equal,
Yeah. And you really got to think about your process, what has happened and everything. And with ADHD, I got very short-term memory. So, oh god. All right. So, I do like these tournament formats. They're more, in my opinion, they're more like an MMA kind of format. You have a lot of mixed styles, mixed martial arts in here, and obviously mixed martial arts is the way to go. Like there's no such thing as one true style. There's always gonna be, a style that will beat yours, and you can always take what's good and put it together and come up with something. But at the same time, as a book nerd, I kind of want to see like a more by the book kind of tournament where Fiorists would fight other Fiorists, and if you do a Zorchow in there, they'd be like, oh no, you can't do that. Like you won't get a point for it, but like, you know what I mean? I like to see something like that, interpretation versus interpretation in a tournament format. Obviously, no one's gonna judge you on your interpretation because it's your interpretation. But I like to see that kind of tournament format, I guess. I wouldn't know how that would work, but it'd be cool to just see, body versus body or Fiori.
133 on 133.
Yeah.
That's one that I would love to do. No, he's like, no.
I like 133. What I'm saying is if you tried to get a body versus body tournament, there would be like my club and like 3 others. There'd be like 7 or 8 people total.
Yeah. But it would be pretty easy.
It's like Ascalon is a big net. Whatever you do, there's 93 fighters. You can do whatever you want.
Absolutely.
But that's an interesting idea. That would be like the opposite end. It's very specific.
Yeah. It'd be a smaller tournament or whatever. But it'd be cool. Maybe when I host a tournament, maybe I'll throw something like that.
All right.
See how that goes.
You know what was a really interesting concept I saw done was Patrick McCaffrey, along with his crew at Larce de la Boca, we used to run every year, and hopefully he's coming back, Flower Point, which was a wonderful tournament.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And at Flower Point, they had probably the best technical tournament that I've ever seen.
Cool.
Right? It wasn't based off of any specific technique, right? But what you would have to do is you would have to take the book, explain your interpretation, show it to a panel of judges with a compliant sparring partner, and then with a randomly assigned non-compliant sparring partner.
Wow, okay.
And the thing that you would get is that you would be able to tell your non-compliant partner what the setup that you needed was.
Right.
You're only allowed to give them one direction.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome. It was so
because I kind of want to see just more moves, more tricks out of the book. It's always thrust, cut to the hand, cut to the leg, no one's pulling out all these big moves, and I guess the simple way, keep it simple.
Yeah, it's going to be what's efficient in the game of play.
Yeah.
And the rules of that game.
But I'm from a martial arts background, so when you do Kung Fu, you have the tournament, and then you have the form for the tournament. So I kind of want to incorporate that in a way that, right?
That's kind of what the techniques for
But I like to see it pulled off too. The
yeah.
form's pretty and all, but I want to see it working.
Yeah.
But no one's gonna try it until you're forced to try it.
Sure. Well, one of the big things I think is part of the problem with that, right? Is HEMA, generally speaking, is relatively new. Hobby, it's new pattern, it's a new martial art. We've had these translations in various sources since 80 or somewhere around there, right?
Yeah.
And the competitive scene, along with the best distillation of interpretation that I've seen, has only really come in the past 10 to 15 years ish. You would say?
I'd say 10.
It's been very close.
Yeah.
Very close. And with that has kind of come this refocus on how teaching is divvied out to the student.
Right.
If you look at books, you read the techniques, right? And there has to be some kind of underlying foundational work.
Right.
I think when you're talking about what you see at a tournament,
that is the foundational work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, students are taught techniques. They know how to do them, and every once in a while they'll be like, prayer, punta falsa. you know, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But you don't see application in appropriate timing.
Right.
Yeah, not until you get to that skill level.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of
So-
sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
In my viewpoint, there has to be a lot of attention paid to what the tactics of the system are first,
Right.
to really see the kind of thing that you
Yeah.
want to
So
see.
people basically have to go up the next level, and then that's when you start seeing the
yeah.
more complicated. That makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah, that's good. That's
Because I feel like
Great
as you get more experience in the fencing, you know, instead of you start actually almost counter fighting or counter punching, or you kind of look at your opponent more. You're not just going to throw a shot, right?
Yeah.
You become more responsive, and maybe as people get better, then we'll get to see newer techniques into the game. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
All right, guys. I think that the finals are starting.
Yeah. So
So we should go watch. We gotta see the finals.
Nerds,
All right. See ya.